Welcome to my video on the moon signs. If you want to find out what sign your moon is in, it's really easy. You can just go to astro.com. I'll put the link in the description below, and you need your location, your date and your time of birth, and you can just enter those details and it will come up with the sign that your moon is in. So the moon is a very whimsical planet in a person's natal chart. It has this whimsical feeling where it wants what it wants when it wants it, and has this way of needing feeding. So in the astrology world, we say quite often that you need to feed your moon, and your moon has certain needs and requirements in order for you to feel happy. But the moon is also connected to how we feel safe in the world and how we feel a sense of security in the world. So in order to feel safe and secure, the moon has certain needs that we need to fulfill. And often the moon can feel quite impatient and want these things quite quickly, whereas the sun, for example, is how we stay sane in the world, how we keep our sense of sanity, but it's more of a long-term game with the sun, and there's often long-term strategy in place for keeping the sun feeling sane. But with the moon, it's a lot quicker, it's a faster planet, it moves quickly around the zodiac, and it requires us to meet those very specific needs more immediately and quickly, so that we can feel a sense of safety and security and a sense of just belonging in the world. So the moon is really important in your life and requires feeding of a certain type of activity or way of being in order for you to feel at your optimal happiness and optimal well-being. So let's go straight into what those things are for each of the 12 signs that your moon may be in. So we'll start with Aries. And something that an Aries moon will need in abundance is adventure, plenty of adventure. Aries moon also needs a certain amount of risk within that adventure. So we don't necessarily mean here taking silly risks that might be dangerous or harmful, though that can be a part of it, as long as it sounds a contradiction, but safe danger. So doing adventure sports, for example, which do have a certain element of danger to them, but obviously safety precautions have been taken. So a certain element of risk. There doesn't have to be adventure sports, that's just a very obvious example, but a certain amount of tension in your life where there is a possibility of failure or a possibility of danger somehow, or a possibility of some kind of risk in your life that creates an inner feeling of tension. So it's about courage and doing an activity or being a certain way that actually requires you to be courageous in some way. So you can't have courage without fear. Courage can't exist without also fear existing at the same time. It's not possible. So with an Aries moon, you need to make sure that you are doing activities and things in your life that actually make you feel a little bit afraid. And if there is an element of fear there, that means that you are going to require some courage in order to carry it out. So any kind of activity that requires courage is what will make you feel happy, safe and secure. And with an Aries moon, there's also a requirement for a life of passion. So if life gets too routine, dull, boring, same every day, your Aries moon is not going to feel happy or fed, and you need to bring something back into your life that creates passion somehow. So that could be something that you enjoy doing, or it could be an idea that you're working on, or mixing with other people with grand ideas or a grand sense of adventure. So you need a healthy dose of passion in your life. So that's Aries moon. Moving on to Taurus moon. The main thing that a Taurus moon needs is stability. This is a really big word for a Taurus moon. A sense of stability in life, and contrary to Aries moon, order and routine, and knowing what's happening next, and knowing where your money is going to come from, where your food is going to come from, the home, the roof over your head, is that stable? So yes, it's practical. It's a practical thing, and it's all about the practical basic needs of life being met and creating stability and security through meeting those basic practical needs. So money plays a big part in this. We often talk about money with the sign of Taurus, but it isn't money in and of itself that's important, it's the stability that the money creates. So with a Taurus moon, you need to make sure you have all your basic needs met and a sense of stability and longevity within them in order for you to feel happy, safe and secure. You also need comforts. So Taurus is a sign of comforts. So we're talking things like food, cozy blankets, a good movie, nice things around your home that create a sense of comfort for you. So stability and comfort is really important, as is quietness. Periods of quietness for a Taurus moon is really important, whether that's reading a book, going for a walk in nature, listening to music, doing anything that creates a feeling of inner quietness is what's going to nurture you and make you feel happy. So moving on to Gemini moon. So Geminis need knowledge, and they need plenty of knowledge. This is the person who is endlessly scrolling on their phone on social media in order to receive as much knowledge about whatever they're interested in as possible. So it's about feeding your mind with constant new knowledge. This can obviously take a bit of an addictive path as well, and you can just be the endless scroller that doesn't really absorb anything. It can become quite addictive, but it's just really important to know that with a Gemini moon, you need to be constantly learning and constantly open-minded and curious with new information, but just make sure that it's information that you're actually interested in, that actually means something to you, not just endless scrolling of tat, basically, for the sake of it. So with a Gemini moon, you also need communication. Yes, it's about absorbing the information, but it's also about the ability to communicate what you've learnt and understood afterwards. Excuse me, I had a cough recently. So it's about talking conversations with other people and talking about everything that you've learned and understood and all the information that you've absorbed, the books you've read, YouTube videos that you've watched. It's about communicating all of those things and that newly acquired knowledge with other people. So conversation is a really good thing for a Gemini moon, and sharing. And the last thing about a Gemini moon that's important is just a general sense of busyness. So just always making sure that when you are not feeling your best and you're not feeling happy or safe or secure, busyness is actually the answer for you. And keeping yourself busy with multiple projects, running errands and doing things that you love and enjoy and having fun with those things is really important. So actually, unlike Taurus, who needs a lot of rest, for you, it's busyness and lots of projects. So with a Cancer moon, there is a feeling fairly similar to Taurus in that you also need comforts. It's quite similar to a Taurus moon in that comforts like food, good movies, cozy blankets, a fire, music playing, all of those things. Anything that's basically comfort to you. They're just some of the obvious things, but whatever makes you feel cozy and comfortable is good to nurture yourself with those things and those activities on a regular basis, and this will help you to feel happy and safe and secure. Another thing for a Cancer moon that's very important is family. So family in the widest sense of the term, it doesn't have to be your immediate blood family members, though that can also be the case, but a sense of family in the world somehow. So that could be with really dear friends of yours, or could be with really cherished pets that you have. It doesn't really have to be the traditional sense of family. The important thing is, do you feel as though you have your family around you, and are you connected with that family? And there's a great sense of comfort and security and happiness with a Cancer moon that comes from spending time with those family members, whoever they are, and really bonding with them and developing close relationships with them. And also that goes along with family is support systems for a Cancer moon. So do you feel supported? Do you feel supported by others and by your family members? And do you offer support to others? It's all about care and nurturing. So for a Cancer moon, you need to be providing that care and nurture for other people. Excuse me again. I shouldn't really be recording these videos with a cough, but I want to record the videos and keep producing the content. So I'm going ahead and doing it anyway. So support that comes through your family members, that you're receiving nurture, care and support, and you're also giving it to other people as well. So a Leo moon, moving on to Leo, one of the important things for a Leo moon is expression, big, bold expression. What's on the inside needs to come out and be expressed on the outside in an authentic way, and usually in quite a grand, elaborate way. So the sign of Leo is about being seen and being heard. So you walk into a space and you light up the room and people hear you and they see you. And that's what is ultimately going to make a Leo moon feel happy, as is having things like a big, grand vision. They're all about ideas and big, grand visions. It's a fire sign. So in order to feel happy and safe and secure and as though you belong in the world, you need to be expressing your ideas and your visions and having people be interested in them and join in with those visions and support you in them. Basically, as a Leo moon, you need lots of attention. Attention is important for you, and people's eyes and ears need to be on you and hearing what you have to say and hearing your ideas and supporting them, no matter how big and grand they might be. So expression in all its forms and having an audience for that expression is really important to your happiness as a Leo moon. Moving on to Virgo moon. So this again returns to a more practical sense, and Virgo moon requires a sense of usefulness is probably the best way of putting it. So Virgo is about, what can I do that is useful to other people? How can I develop a skill or have a skill or a talent that is of use to people, and how can I put it to use? So in order for you to feel happy, connected and secure, you need to be aware of a certain skill that you have. It could be something very simple like cooking, or it could be something much more elaborate that you've needed a PhD to acquire. It could be any number of things, but the point is you need to be actively using that skill for the benefit of others and for serving others somehow. So this could be something really simple like you like to be the one that goes and helps someone elderly put a shelf up. That's a very, very simple version of this, but it could be anything and everything in between. But the point is, are you making yourself useful? When you have a need to make yourself useful to other people so that you are needed somehow, and so that you are somehow improving or helping that person. There is a need for mastery as well with Virgo. So there is a need to develop a skill or a talent where you actually become a complete master of that skill or talent. So it's about learning and it's about perfecting your craft continuously until you get better and better and better at it. So happiness and fulfillment comes from sitting down or doing whatever you're doing and perfecting that craft or that skill. And as long as that skill is improving your life or other people's lives, or the device that you're working on or the system that you're working with, then that's happiness to a Virgo moon. A Libra moon is all about needing beauty. Libra moons need to be surrounded by beauty. So again, that could be that they work on their own beauty physically, but more often than not, it's actually about going to places around you in your community or in the world that are beautiful and they're inspiring because of their beauty. So a sense of peace and inner stillness and tranquility and calm is really important to a Libra moon, and going to places which are inherently beautiful gives you a sense of ease and tranquility that you're looking for as a Libra moon. And Libra is also all about relationships. So you do need relationships in your life. That doesn't necessarily mean love relationships, though that can be an important part of it. It's about having people in your life that you can relate to and build harmonious, friendly relationships with. You have a need for other people in your life. So in order to feel happy and fulfilled, it's a good idea to go and seek out other people and build relationships with them, or just nurture those relationships. With a Scorpio moon, we get more intense here and much deeper. So a Scorpio moon is all about analysis and has a need for depth analysis. This is like the psychologist of the zodiac. So there is an inherent need to dig deep into things. So that could be digging deep into emotions, digging deep into ideas, digging deep into psychological processes. It's like the therapist of the zodiac, and there is a need for therapy with a Scorpio moon. Probably a therapy would be a really good idea. but just sitting with good friends or family members and just basically excavating the mind and the emotions with that person is a really good thing for a Scorpio moon to do, to get to the kind of the bottom of things. And on that note, being with other people, similar to Libra, that relationships are really important for a Scorpio moon, but these are relationships that are much less superficial and much less just about sociability and things. These are relationships where the bond is really deep and the trust that's building is absolutely solid and deep and secure. There can be trust issues with a Scorpio moon, so they need to build really deep, lasting, trusting bonds. But the important ingredient of these bonds is that there is some kind of intensity within these bonds. There needs to be a feeling of intensity, and there needs to be absolute honesty within these bonds. Lies and superficiality and general social expectations for relationships will not really work. They have to be absolutely raw and honest. And a certain level of intensity in life is required for a Scorpio moon. They need to live on the edge, a little bit like an Aries moon. Maybe that could be adventures and taking risks, but it's probably more centered around an intensity with your relationships with people and with your emotions. And so you could, for example, develop quite an intense relationship with a therapist and have a private space where you can emote and express everything that's going on in your mind. So intensity is the key, but usually in the form of relationships rather than outward physical adventures, though that can also be a part of it. So with a Sagittarius moon, here we have someone who is all about freedom and meaning. Meaning is a big word for a Sagittarius moon. So everything you do in your life has to somehow have meaning. So yes, you can create relationships, you can do hobbies, you can go to work and choose a career, all of these things that we do in life. But for you, there has to be an understanding of what they mean on a deeper, higher level for you. They have to have some kind of purpose to them. So your hobby can't just be a hobby that is literally something you just do for fun. The hobby has to have some kind of meaning and purpose to it, as does your job, and just everything in your life, the way you live your life has to have an air of meaning to it. What purpose does that particular thing that you do in your life have? What purpose does that relationship have? As long as you can understand what the purpose is of the things you do in your life, you'll feel happy, safe and secure. If things become meaningless and have no purpose to you anyway, then you will not necessarily feel your best or at your happiest in life. Another thing that a Sagittarius moon needs is experience. A Sagittarius moon has come in and as a soul and has said, I am willing and ready to experience as much of life as possible. I am willing to gather a wide range of experience in life so that I can just see what life is all about, and I can expand my horizons as widely as possible. So things like expanding your mind through reading expansive books that take your mind into new ideas and new territory, but also things very literally like traveling around the world and being amongst new cultures will expand your sense of self and your understanding of meaning and purpose in life. So travel through the mind and travel physically is something that's going to make a Sagittarius moon feel really happy and connected and fulfilled. Moving on to Capricorn moon. A Capricorn moon requires success. That's probably the best way to sum it up. Success is really important to a Capricorn moon, as is, like Taurus, a sense of stability. But Capricorn is in it for the long strategic game. So there is a need for some kind of a sense of goal in life. Like, do you have a goal? Is there something that you're aiming for? And this goal with a Capricorn moon is usually quite lofty and quite ambitious. So are you working slowly and strategically? That's important with Capricorn moon, to put a strategy in place. Are you working towards this goal in a strategic, logical fashion, step by step by step? Do you have a vision of what that end goal is and what it looks like? And are you working towards the success of something? It doesn't mean that a Capricorn moon is addicted to work or their career. It just means that there is something in their life that they are ambitious about, that they are working towards. It could be developing a new skill. It could be creating a family. It could be getting on the property ladder. It could be any of those things. But the point is, do you have something that you're working towards where you can see the gold at the end of the rainbow? So for you, happiness comes from visualizing those goals, but then actually practically taking steps to reach that goal and putting a strategic plan in place for how you're going to get there. So for you, if you're not feeling particularly connected, fulfilled or happy at the moment, it's time to sit down and start mapping out some goals that you want to achieve in your life and how you're going to get there. And this will bring you a sense of happiness and fulfillment. Aquarius moon needs an abundance of freedom and does not like to be tied down or told what to do. So where possible, every area of your life, whether it's your career, relationships, general day-to-day life, your friendships, you need to be able to have a sense of ultimate freedom in all of those areas of your life and not be put inside boxes. This is happiness for you. And you are very focused on things like friendships. Friendships is a very friendship orientated sign and a humanitarian sign as well. So tie these two things together. You need friendships, but you need to be helping your friends as well, helping them do things like paint their homes or whatever it is that they might need help with. Then you're usually the one who is there to show up and help them. So it's about friendships, and you have a need for sociability and mingling and networking and connecting with others on a constant basis. This is something that's going to make you feel really happy. But it's also important to remember with an Aquarian moon, you need the freedom, and you don't like to be tied down in any areas of your life. Freedom is important. So craft a life for yourself where you have freedom and you can make your own choices and be an individual. As an Aquarian moon, individuality is super important. You do not like to be told who to be and how to be. You like the freedom to be able to create those choices for yourself and show up in the world as a completely unique person and true and authentic to yourself. So happiness for you is authenticity, is spending time amongst friends and helping others, networking, socializing, and being your full authentic self out in life, whatever that means. So when you feel unhappy or unstable somehow, a good thing to do is to go out and connect with other people, but also a good thing to do is to think of ways in which you can open up your authentic self somehow, whether that's doing something, an activity or a hobby, or doing a new project at work that allows you to express your authentic self. And lastly, moon in Pisces. So moon in Pisces is all about creativity. Not every moon in Pisces is a naturally creative person. Some moon in Pisces may prefer, for example, to escape through reading books or playing computer games, or escaping through listening to music, for example. So not every Pisces moon is inherently able to create from the inside out and be artistic, but that is often a very strong feature of a Pisces moon. And if you are creatively inclined, then happiness for you does involve creating, whether that's art or music or words, or somehow bringing what's inside outside, a bit like Leo. But there is more of a natural, flowing, slow, creative process to this that builds over time. So also with a Pisces moon, stillness is important. So a sense of just finding a regular stillness within. And again, that can come through many things: going fishing, creating a piece of artwork, listening to music, playing a computer game, sitting down and meditating, reading a good creative book of some kind. How you do it doesn't matter, but what you do matters. The creation of that inner stillness and tranquility and ability to connect to something more within is what's going to make you feel happy as a Pisces moon, and any of those activities will do that. You just need to do something that feels good and right to you, that creates and cultivates inner stillness and peace and a connection to something more, to a divinity, whatever you want to call that. You're creating a connection to a sense of divinity within you, and there are many ways that you can get to that place of inner stillness. And spirituality is also a very important part of a Pisces moon. But again, not every Pisces moon is obviously spiritual. Not every Pisces moon is going to be either an artist or an avid meditator, or religious, for example. So what I mean by spirituality is, how can you do things in life that have spiritual meaning and create a sense of spiritual connection for you? For some people, that might be creativity, creating artwork, going to church, meditating every day. For others, it might mean that you are creating an incredible Lego scenes and models, because that's something you really enjoy. It could be that you're creating music, or you're just listening to music, or it could be that you really enjoy reading fantasy books, for example, and that brings you a sense of your own spirituality. It doesn't really matter what you do. It just matters that what you're doing brings you to a sense of your own spiritual connection with the wider universe somehow, and whatever does it for you, does it for you, and that's okay. So that is the moon through all 12 signs, and what will help each of those moon signs to feel happy, safe and secure, and as though they belong in the world, and that they are having their moon needs met somehow. So I hope you've enjoyed that video, and thank you very much for watching.